Okay, maybe I'm a total nerd, but what I'm about to show you absolutely blew my mind when I learned it. Now, you're probably aware that guitar players of all levels are kind of obsessed with the pentatonic scale, right? We don't even question it. It just always seems to work in every scenario. Well, if you dig just a little bit below the surface, the reason it always works so well is truly fascinating. So let's get into it. Oh, and if this does result in an aha moment for you, you have to promise me that you'll hit the like button under this video. Just this once. Okay, first, a quick run through the basics. The pentatonic scale is born out of the major scale. The major scale contains 7 notes, and penta means 5. So the pentatonic scale is just a 7-note major scale with 2 notes removed. Specifically, we're removing the 2 semitone intervals from the scale. This is really easy to visualize just by seeing it on the fretboard. Here's a major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the last note is the same as the first note, just up an octave. So that's back to 1. And if we remove this note, so we no longer have this interval, and this note, so we no longer have that interval, we are left with a major pentatonic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then ending on the note we started on, 1. So that's the major scale and the major pentatonic. What about minor? Well, just like with the major, we could take a natural minor scale and remove the 2 semitone intervals. But this is actually a good opportunity to quickly go over relative scales, which will be very relevant to what we talk about after this. Relative scales have all the exact same notes in them. They just start at a different point. So if you take any major scale, let's say the C major scale, don't change anything about it and simply start it from the 6th note. That will give you your relative minor scale. In this case, an A minor scale. This means a C major scale and an A minor scale contain the exact same notes. And this goes for the pentatonic as well. C major pentatonic and A minor pentatonic are the same scales, just starting at different points. Every single major scale has a relative minor scale, and it's always just based on that 6th note. All right, before we jump into the next part, I want to quickly thank today's sponsor, Magic Spoon, for surprising me in the best way possible. When I was a kid, sugary cereal was my absolute favorite thing in the world. And even now, sugar is still my one vice. I've tried cutting back, but yeah, it never really works. That's why I was so excited when I tried this. Magic Spoon cereal has 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 sugar, and just 4 to 5 grams of net carbs per serving, and somehow still tastes like the good stuff from back in the day. And I'm not exaggerating here, the fruity cereal might honestly be my favorite cereal I've ever had. Also, the marshmallow treats are just as good. And all their treats are packed with 11 to 12 grams of protein, just 1 gram of sugar, and 1 to 2 grams of net carbs. Use my code Andrew Clarke or click the link in the description to try Magic Spoon cereal or treats today and get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link in the description to go to magicspoon.com/Andrew Clarke or scan the QR code on the screen for $5 off. All right, let's get back into it. Okay, so you've got the basics. Now we get to the mind-blowing stuff. Let's take a key like C major and look at the chords in it. We've got 3 major chords, 3 minor chords, and 1 diminished chord. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. We're going to be leaving the 7th chord, that diminished chord, out of all of this, by the way. It's the one weird chord where the concept we're about to talk about doesn't exactly apply. We don't use the 7th chord that often in most chord progressions anyway, so it's not a huge deal. Now, whenever I play a chord progression using these chords, I typically use the scale that matches the key to play over it. So song is in the key of C major, that means C major scale or C major pentatonic. Pretty simple, always works, always sounds good. if I tried to change scales to match every chord, like F major scale over the F major chord and G major scale over the G major chord, it wouldn't work at all. This is because I'd be introducing notes that aren't in the key of C major, which is the thread that ties all of these chords together. If we looked at all those scales for every chord in the key, it would be pretty obvious. We've got all these notes in every one of the other scales that aren't in C major. Unfortunate. But if we change all of these to the pentatonic versions of each scale, look what happens. There are no longer any notes whatsoever that aren't in the key of C major. And what does that mean? You're totally free to use them over their corresponding chords. All the notes are safe. Check this out. So cool. Now, this doesn't mean you need to do this over every chord, but it gives you a viable option to mix it up every once in a while, letting you break away from the key scale to safely explore some other shapes while not hitting any weird notes. And keep in mind, this would work for every chord in the key other than the 7th diminished chord. I'll illustrate this by showing you every single note in the key of C major on the fretboard. Normally, we divide this up into the 5 scale positions and visualize it that way. But if we don't do that, and I just go through and overlay each basic pentatonic for each chord, you'll see that every single one fits. We don't run into a single note that isn't in the key. And no matter what key you do this with, it'll all work the exact same. Key of D major, for example, we've got a whole new set of chords. But when we pull up the pentatonic scales that match the chords, they all contain nothing but notes from the key of D major. It just always works. By the way, every scale graphic and fretboard diagram in this lesson is available in a handy printable booklet over on my Patreon. Along with that, you'll get a follow-up lesson to this video going over practice tips and next steps. You'll find a link to all that down in the description. Now, I'm actually not done yet because there is one more insane thing about the pentatonic that I need to show you, and it has to do with modes. If you haven't learned anything about modes yet, no problem. You do not need to fully understand them to get how cool this is. So just like our chords in a key, there are 3 major modes, 3 minor modes, and then one weird one that we will be totally leaving out. Let's go back to our C major scale. Our 3 major modes are just based on the major scale's root, which is C. And our 3 minor modes are based on the relative minor scale root, which is that 6th note, the A. For our 3 major modes, we've got C Ionian, which is literally just a C major scale, then C Lydian and C Mixolydian. For our 3 minor modes, we've got A Aeolian, which is literally just an A minor scale, then A Dorian and A Phrygian. You can see that the notes don't all match, which is to be expected. But if I take my C major scale and turn that into a C major pentatonic, you can see that every single mode, both major and minor, contain all 5 of those pentatonic notes. Every single one of them. 5 notes in every scale will be the 5 notes from the pentatonic. And when you apply this to the fretboard, it becomes so cool. Because no matter which modal scale I put up, C Ionian, C Lydian, C Mixolydian, my pentatonic scale stays the exact same and works like an exoskeleton for everything. Same for the minor modes. A Aeolian, A Dorian, and A Phrygian. Every one of these modal scales is just building on top of the pentatonic scale I know and love. I feel like just knowing that old faithful pentatonic is in there makes digesting these modal scales 1,000 times less intimidating. And once again, with everything we've talked about today, it all works the same way in every other key as well, not just C major and A minor. These concepts just carry right over to any key you're playing in. Pretty cool stuff. All right, I really hope you find all of this as fascinating as I do. It really honestly connected some insane dots for me. From here, I'd recommend this lesson on how the caged system can be applied to the pentatonic scale. It'll be a really good next step for you. Another big thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video. Make sure you go get yourself some cereal or some treats by following the link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.